Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Temi Talks Live here on the Wavy Baller Hub. If this is your first time watching, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, follow the movement that is the Wavy Baller Hub. A lot to discuss this morning, a lot to discuss. Eric Ten Hag did a press conference this morning leading up to the Villa game tomorrow, and I think that Villa game is at 5:45 a.m. my time. So, whew, wish me luck, man. Wish me luck. It's gonna be an early morning, early start, but we're here. We're gonna do it. We're gonna have fun with it. But let's get into it. Just some thoughts on the press conference. He was asked a question about transfers, obviously, how critical it is to bring transfers in, all this good stuff. And he got asked a couple times in different ways the same question, which happens a lot with these journalists, to be quite honest with you. And he just was honest. He said, there's a ton of games. We need more options. We need a good squad with, again, he keeps on saying the right players, right? So I think he's hinting at De Jong there, right? In terms of no matter who I bring in, I want to bring in the right kind of players from my squad, right? So I really like that. He's a very direct man. He doesn't mince his words. Um, he talked about the young players and how they're in his thoughts, and if they play well, you'll play. Um, he got asked about Maguire again by multiple um by multiple journalists, and I find this really annoying. Like anytime something happens to Harry Maguire, it's like it's like they can't stop asking questions about it. When the Greece thing happened, it was, they gave him an interview, all this good stuff. Um, and there's been different times in his career where like, okay, he got booed in an England shirt, right? And it just becomes this big unnecessary thing. Like they make it such a big deal. Like, how dare you boo Harry Maguire? Like they want him to be good so bad. And we'll talk about this because Varane got interviewed. Varane got interviewed recently too, and it was a pretty interesting interview. I want to talk about that in a second here, but like, who cares that? Like, why do you guys care so much that Harry got booed? Like, it's like they keep on asking the questions about it, and I'm just so annoyed. Like, it happened, it's over, move on. And essentially, Ten Hag he was real. He said, not just Harry Maguire, but as a team, you stop bad reactions. And I'm paraphrasing here by just perform well, right? When you perform well over time, when you perform well over time, people aren't going to boo you. They don't have a choice but to respect what you're doing on the pitch. So Harry Maguire, message to you: just play well, right? Just play well, and everything will be okay. Everything will be okay. I see this funny comment here. Congrats on the Bangkok Cup. Thank you. We genuinely appreciate it. Thank you, and we'll continue to win more. I don't know if you're a City fan or a Liverpool fan. It's all love at the end of the day. Um, so Van de Beek, Ten Hag was asked about Fred as well and how he views him, how he sees him, and Fred, and he talked about. He said Fred is currently playing, quote, the connector role, right? So the De Jong role, essentially. And I talked about this earlier in the week. Like right now, Fred is playing that role because no one else is really good enough to play it. McTominay is not good in that role, to be quite frank with you. Picking the ball up from the back four and connecting the defense to the attack. There's no one else in the first team that's really decent at that role. If and when De Jong comes into the side, I'm going to be interested to see how Fred, will it be De Jong and Fred in that pivot? I'm interested to see how it works. Will Fred move to the bench? Like, I have so many questions about that, like, quote unquote connector role, right? If Fred gets hurt right now, we are in big trouble. Like, honestly, because we don't have another player who can play that role well, unless you go and reach into the youth setup and play Charlie Savage or play Zidane Iqbal. But that is not what you want heading into a season. And that's not a shade to those young players. It's just like for them to have that type of pressure on them without really getting little to no game time in the past year in the first team. Like I think they all played like I think they've all had brief cameos, right? I think but to ask them to start week 1 against Brighton would be insanity. It wouldn't be fair. So I don't think that's going to happen. The Ronaldo thing keeps popping back up, right? They keep on asking Ten Hag, what are your thoughts on Ronaldo? Are you concerned that he's not here? Blah, blah, blah. And he said, concerned isn't the right word. I'm not concerned. I'm focusing on the players who are here, which was a big statement, man, which is a big statement. Shout out to you. Shout out to Blake Football Meat, Brighton fan. Much love. We will be beating you guys match week 1. Just write that down, clip this, and if I'm wrong, you can give me a hard time about it. But yeah, no, they keep on asking him, and it's what's very obvious is that Anthony Martial is the starter week 1, no matter what happens. Ronaldo could come in like next week. He's not going to start. I think if we're all being objective here, Martial and Sancho and Rashford have been very exciting in this preseason. I think he's impressed by about Martial and Sancho specifically. I think that does Ronaldo fit is the question. And I don't know. I think he'll. If Ronaldo's here, he's going to play, obviously, but I don't think he's just gonna walk into the side as soon as he gets back. Like I think Ten Hag's gonna expect him to go through his paces, get up to speed. Obviously, he's one of the most fit men in the world, but there's a difference between like being fit on the grass and being fit like in the gym, if that makes sense. So he's gonna have to get up to speed there. What do you think about Goat Naldo being rejected? I think it's interesting. I'm surprised. Honestly, I'm a little surprised that a team didn't go in for him. Even just for the commercial value, because he'll bring tons of money to a club. So I'm a little bit shocked about that. But let's move on. I want to talk about something that was really interesting. So a lot of these training sessions that Ten Hag is doing have been publicized or on YouTube, and man, he's intense, and I love it. He is intense. There's a video out there of him cussing out Zidane Iqbal. He was like, Zidane, it's effing rubbish. Just like, I don't know what happened because they didn't show what Zidane did, but I just found it hilarious. And it's like people are shocked because, Ali was just such a nice dude and, you just didn't see that. But this guy is like, he wants perfection. Every single session, every single training game they play, like you can just see it in his eyes. He's just analyzing and he's just processing everything that's happening. It's so impressive. I'm so excited for this manager. I think it's going to be a breath of fresh air. We'll talk about top 4 and stuff like that later in the coming weeks because we have time, but man, in just the initial feelings, I'm quite pleased. I'm quite pleased. I can't lie. Excuse me, guys. I have allergies and it's killing me. It's killing me. The Varane interview, I think Simon Peach and Simon Stone were the people interviewing him. They asked about his season prior, the center back competition and all this good stuff. And it just got me thinking about the center back competition. Like, we signed a 55 million pound. We signed a center back for 55 million pounds. He has to play, right? He's not going to just sit on the bench for that amount of money. Then it becomes Varane, Maguire, Lindelof. One of those. Who are those? Which one of those 3 are going to start, right? I love Victor Lindelof. He's not going to play. So let's just get that out the way. But then the Harry Maguire versus Varane thing, right? So he's moved Harry Maguire to right center back. obviously meaning Lissandro Martinez is going to play left center back. What's going on, Ugly Bear? Much love. So that means, is Harry Maguire going to start over Rafael Varane? I can't wrap my head around that, to be quite honest with you. I think it's going to happen to start, but I don't think that's going to happen. I just cannot see that happening for a whole season. I know Harry Maguire is a good center. Well, I take that back. I know Harry Maguire is a decent center back. Like, he's okay. He's not better than Rafael Varane. Come on now. Like, how can he be playing week in, week out over a 4 times Champions League winner, a World Cup winner, a La Liga winner? Like, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So I don't know what's going to happen. It just has me thinking that we do have a center back dilemma. Like, one, we have way too many center backs. Like Bailly, Jones are on the periphery. Lindelof has now kind of become on the periphery. Even though he's playing a lot in preseason, might I add, but I just can't see him really getting a fair shake at this thing, right? So it's interesting. I just don't know what's gonna happen. I genuinely don't. I really hope Rafael Varane is in that first team. That's all I'm gonna say. I just can't wrap my head around anything else. Transfer news. This is gonna be a quick show today. Apparently, United are interested in Ben Pavard from Bayern Munich as a right back option. I am not a fan of Ben Pavard. Like, just I'm not trying to disrespect him, but he was overrated from that like World Cup experience. He started, obviously, he played really well, scored an amazing goal, but offensively, I just think he's kind of meaty. He's kind of mediocre. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just whatever. And I don't think he's great defensively. Should go for Klaus. I think Jonathan Klaus got signed somewhere else. I could be mistaken, but I think he got signed somewhere else. Varane is a Rolls Royce. Harry Maguire is a Datsun Sunny. That's hilarious. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want Ben Pavard. Like, I don't want Ben Pavard at all. And forgive me if I'm wrong, Bayern people. If you're a Bayern Munich watcher, or I should say Bayern Munich fan who watches way more than me. Every time I watch Bayern Munich, I'm just underwhelmed by him. I'm so underwhelmed by him. Like, apparently Chelsea are interested too. I think Chelsea just wants some cover, which makes sense. But even in that wing back position, they'd be better served going for somebody else, to be honest with you. Next thing on the list here, Jesse Lingard officially signed for Nottingham Forest. Apparently, they've spent 70 million pounds this summer, which is a lot for a team coming into the Premier League from the Championship. Excuse me, guys. But I mean, happy for him. Wish him all the best. Obviously, he had a very interesting United career. Became kind of a famous poster boy player. I always thought he was a bit overrated, just in terms of the media, the fanfare. But he's a decent player. Like, he's a decent player, and I was a fan. Obviously, the Arsenal goal where he Millie rocked afterwards was a special moment. I remember exactly where I was when that happened. It was great. He says, I agree with you about Pavard. He's just living off of the goal. Yeah, he's a very mediocre right back to me, which is why they got Mazraoui from Ajax, right? So if I like, why wouldn't we just go for Mazraoui instead of going for Ben Pavard if that was the case, like earlier? But United don't do business early. According to the Sun, Anthony, right winger from Ajax, his representatives are in Manchester United to discuss a move. I don't know how true that is. The Sun is very unreliable, as we all know. But we know where it currently stands. I think they want 80 million euros or something like that. No, no. I'd rather just play Ahmad. Seriously, I don't care. 80 million euros for That player is a lot of money, and it just reeks of it could go bad if we spend that much money on him. But it is what it is. Last thing here. I see a comment here. I don't know why United didn't go for Mazraoui, because United are becoming Ajax 2.0 under ETH. Yeah, I don't know. It would have been really good. Last thing here, and then I have to go because of work. De Jong, nothing has really changed. Still the same situation. I've looked up some stuff to see if there's anything new that came out, and no. Situation still stands. A fee has been agreed, and we are just waiting now. Guys, I gotta go. I'm sorry this isn't as long as it normally is. Make sure to hit that like button for me. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to the Wavy Baller Hub, and I will talk to you guys very shortly. Deuces.